What's hiding in our town's darkest secret? Uncover the shocking truth behind the mysterious secrets lurking in the shadows of our town. From unexplained legends to eerie urban myths, we're diving deep into the dark side of our community to expose the hidden stories that will leave you speechless. Join us as we explore the unknown, the unexplained, and the unbelievable in our quest to uncover the darkest secrets our town has to offer. What will we uncover? You'll have to watch to find out. Chapter 1. A Whisper in the Dark. It started with a missing person. When 16-year-old Daniel Parker vanished without a trace, the town was gripped with fear. The police found no leads, no evidence, just the eerie feeling that something wasn't right. The locals spoke in hushed whispers about the Parker family's long history in town, about the strange occurrences that always seemed to follow them. Daniel's mother, Julia Parker, was inconsolable. She knew her son would never run away, no matter what anyone said. She started digging into town records, hoping to find any clue about past disappearances. What she discovered was chilling. Every 10 years, a teenager had gone missing under eerily similar circumstances. Meanwhile, Daniel's best friend, Ethan Carter, refused to believe his friend had simply vanished without reason. He started his own investigation, gathering a small group of friends, including Daniel's sister, Emily, and local conspiracy theorist Lucas Rayner, who had been obsessed with the town's supernatural rumors for years. Together, they vowed to uncover the truth. Chapter 2. The Hollow House. At the edge of town stood an abandoned house, its windows shattered, its door barely hanging on by rusted hinges. No one had lived there for decades, yet strange noises were often heard from within, whispers carried by the wind, the echo of footsteps when no one was around. Curious, the group decided to explore the house. What they found inside would change everything. Strange markings lined the walls, symbols that no one could decipher. In the basement, an old wooden box sat in the center of the room, covered in a thick layer of dust. Ethan opened it, only to find something that made his blood run cold. Daniel's missing jacket, perfectly folded inside. Emily took a picture of the symbols, hoping someone might be able to decipher them. She sent it to Professor Alan Graves, a folklore expert at the nearby university. His reply was immediate and urgent. "Get out of there now. That house is a gateway." Chapter 3. The Town That Forgets. The next morning, the town woke up to unsettling news. Ethan had disappeared. The chilling part? No one seemed to remember him. His parents didn't recognize his name. His house was abandoned as if no one had ever lived there, and even his teachers had no recollection of him being a student. Emily and Lucas, however, remembered. They gathered in secret, trying to piece together what was happening. Was it a conspiracy? A supernatural force? Whatever it was, they had to find Ethan before it was too late. Meanwhile, Julia Parker visited the town's archives, finding records of people who had vanished in the past. But there was something odd. Every missing person's records eventually vanished, as if they had never existed. Chapter 4. The Secret Beneath Our Feet. As the search for Ethan intensified, the group uncovered an unsettling truth. Hidden beneath the town was an extensive network of tunnels. These tunnels were not on any map, yet old records spoke of them, dating back to the 1800s. They were rumored to be a place of sacrifice, where the town's founders had made a deal with something not of this world. Determined, the group ventured into the tunnels. They were met with an overwhelming sense of dread. Shadows moved where there was no light. Whispers slithered through the damp air. And then, in a chamber deep beneath the town, they found a collection of old, rotting journals. The last entry in one of them read, "They take one every decade. That is the price we pay." Chapter 5. The Watchers. Realizing they were dealing with something beyond their understanding, the group sought out the town's oldest resident, a 98-year-old woman named Margaret Holloway. She had lived through more than anyone and was rumored to know things that no one else did. When they visited her, she greeted them with a single phrase, "You shouldn't have gone looking." Margaret told them about the Watchers, a presence that had been in the town since its inception. They had struck a deal with the founders, prosperity in exchange for silence. Every 10 years, someone would be taken, erased from memory, sacrificed to something that lurked in the shadows. Emily pressed Margaret for more information. Margaret sighed, revealing an old locket. Inside was a picture of her brother, who had vanished decades ago. "I remembered him," she said. "And now, you're next." Chapter 6. Breaking the Cycle. Determined to put an end to the cycle, the group devised a plan. If they could expose the truth to the town, they might break the hold the Watchers had over them. They gathered evidence, the journals, the symbols, the voices recorded from the tunnels. Meanwhile, Julia Parker confronted the town mayor, Thomas Grayson, demanding answers. Grayson, pale and shaking, admitted he had known the truth all along. "If we don't comply, they take more," he whispered. But as they were about to go public, one by one, they started disappearing. The ones who remained fought against time, trying to spread the truth before they, too, were forgotten. Chapter 7. The Price of Knowledge. The town began to shift. Strange figures appeared at the edges of vision, whispering in unknown tongues. The remaining members of the group knew they were being watched, hunted. One of them, Sarah, had a plan. She believed that if they performed a ritual from the journals in reverse, they could undo the curse. But the risk was immense. Failure could mean they would all be taken at once. As they prepared, Julia and Emily uncovered another shocking revelation. The town's founder, Benjamin Holloway, had tried to stop the cycle once before. His attempt had failed, leading to his erasure. With no other choice, they gathered in the abandoned house at midnight, preparing to fight for their town's freedom. Chapter 8. The Final Stand. As the ritual began, the shadows converged. A force unlike anything they had ever experienced tried to stop them. The walls of reality bent, twisting into a nightmare as unseen hands clawed at their souls. They fought through the terror, pushing forward, chanting the words from the journals. One by one, they felt themselves being pulled into the abyss, until suddenly, it stopped. The sun rose. The town was silent, and for the first time in centuries, there were no whispers in the dark. Epilogue. The Forgotten Truth. The town never spoke of what happened. There were no news reports, no celebrations, just silence. The group that had fought to break the curse were no longer remembered. Their names faded, their homes abandoned. But every now and then, on the coldest nights, if you listen closely, you can hear their voices carried by the wind, whispering the warning, "Do not go looking for what hides in the dark." New Chapter 9. Echoes of the Lost. Despite the apparent end of the nightmare, Julia Parker begins to feel an unsettling presence in her home. Objects move on their own, shadows stretch unnaturally, and a whisper, Daniel's voice, calls her name. She realizes that some bonds cannot be broken, even by time or forgotten history. Determined to uncover the lingering remnants of the curse, she returns to the tunnels one last time, unaware that something, or someone, is waiting for her in the dark. Final chapter. Shadows of the Past. The town was different now, quieter, emptier, yet heavier, with the weight of an unspoken truth. The shadows that once lurked in every corner had retreated, their whispers silenced, but the scars they left behind remained. Julia Parker walked through the empty streets, her heart aching. She knew what had been lost, what had been erased. Ethan, Lucas, Sarah, all of them, gone. Even Emily. The town had been freed from its curse, but the price had been steep. She alone remembered, burdened with the knowledge of those who had fought to break the cycle. She tried to remind the townspeople, but they looked at her with puzzled expressions, their memories wiped clean of the horrors they had endured. The mayor, Thomas Grayson, no longer trembled in fear. Margaret Holloway, the keeper of forgotten stories, had passed in her sleep, her secrets vanishing with her. Life resumed as if nothing had happened. Businesses reopened, children played in the streets, laughter filled the air once more. But Julia knew the truth. One evening, as she sat on her porch, she heard a faint whisper carried by the wind, a voice she recognized, Emily's voice. "We're still here!" Tears welled in Julia's eyes. Perhaps they weren't truly gone. Perhaps their sacrifice had left an imprint on the town, echoes of their bravery lingering in the air. She took a deep breath and made a decision. She would remember them. She would write their story, preserve the truth, ensure that even if the town forgot, history would not. As Julia put pen to paper, a single street lamp flickered in the distance. A shadow moved just beyond her vision, then faded. The watchers were gone.